Merry Christmas and welcome to Brightworks. What are you looking at? You are looking at what's called a blow-off valve for a 930 turbo. My 930 turbo, which I have put 25 miles a year on for the last 3 years. So low mileage, not a good thing. This one doesn't have a blow-off valve because it's got a long neck intercooler, but this one is a factory slant nose, so I try to keep everything original, but there are seals that go in the end of this blow-off valve, and they gum up after time if you don't use them, right? There's an expectation a certain amount of oil goes through here, just the way a turbo works. And if you don't use them, they gum up, they fall to pieces, and they jam everything up. You can see those are the pieces of the seal that goes here and here. And then the worst part is this guy is supposed to smoothly slide in and out with the tension of this spring pushing back against the air pressure, right? Blow-off valve, so you don't overboost the intake when you snap the throttle shut. This is supposed to slide, open a valve, and it just recircs the air back to the turbocharger. So I'm going to gently tap on this. Yeah, gently tapping is not going to work. So we're going to go soak that in a bunch of stuff. But the moral of the story here is low mileage is not all it's cracked up to be. So we'll get this guy working back perfect again. I noticed it last year when I went to go put it back into storage. Now that we've gotten all the parts cleaned up, so this is the piston that goes in that bore, and you can kind of see there's a hole here, and that basically allows any overboost to recirculate back. But this piston was stuck. Remember, we tapped on it with a hammer. So upon total assembly, I'll put some light engine oil on it, but nothing else. And now you can see, comes right through the bore, works the way that it's supposed to. But we were able to get all the other parts cleaned up. Everything looks perfectly fine. And we will get on to the assembly. So the last part here is the assembly. Everything been cleaned. This has been lubricated with lightweight, non-synthetic motor oil, something like a 540. Same thing on the bore. Now we know that this would be the front side, right? You'd see that on the front side. So we've already put that cover on, and that cover, actually this is what causes all the problems. This is the seal that I've had them where they just kind of sit in the shop for a couple of years and they turn black and they crumble. So I don't know what this is made out of, but it's an opportunity to be improved. So we know from the parts diagram and from how we took it apart that now we're going to load it from the back side. So this is the all-important piston. So that little guy, see how that moves nice and smoothly. And then after that, the spring will go and it sits inside of the piston, and then the little support structure. Now that takes a minute and a little bit of pressure plus 2 hands, but you can see that once these little end caps get cleaned up, the little seal here will fit just inside of that. And that's why sometimes you'll hear a click, clack, click, clack. And what it is it's that piston hitting the end seals, which are no longer rubbery. They're right down to the metal. So yeah, this is probably something that on a normal turbo, I would say get 10 years. It's about what I have on the last time that I pulled this apart. Maybe even less, maybe 5 years, but definitely something to check out. All right, and we will show you when we get her all said and done here. And now we have her back in the car. You can see our little piston area is all cleaned up. We'll get all these clamps on there, get the breather hose in. But you've got one 2, 3 spots where you tie this guy down. You got to be careful to use a torque wrench here because you're actually tying into the magnesium intake manifold. Very easy to strip those threads, but we'll get our boot back on over there. And don't forget to tighten your clamp up on the actual blow-off valve. That hose comes across under here, and then you can see that that goes into the intake manifold. So on this one, I pulled off the little recirc valve thing because I kind of like hearing the overrun. So that's why those are plugged off. But that is I think this thing has 88,000 miles on it. But, yep. Drive them more often and stuff like this will not happen. So, time to go think about putting some miles on it. I say that every single year, but I never do it because I don't know. I have other cars to drive. All right, thanks for watching. Check us out at brightworks.com.